But let's bring in Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor, and Richard Herman, a criminal defense attorney. Good to see you both. Okay, so Richard, you first. Based on what you can see and based on the allegation, how are you envisioning this case?
Well, it looks like to me, and excuse me, but it looks like the accuser is saying, show me the money, because he's a celebrity. Oh. The videos and other videos there show she had been stalking him for about 2 hours before she sat down on the couch next to him and his wife. And during that encounter, you can see on the video, he does touch her leg, and you see his hand move up. You do not see him squeezing her breast, and that's the key to the whole case here. If he did that, Fred, you do not see her, the alleged victim here, jump back. You don't see her stand up. You don't see her start yelling at him. She sits right there. There's no adverse movement by her at that time. Then he grabs her hand and kisses it. Are you kidding me? Based on this, Fred, and his defense counsel is going to get affidavits from other witnesses, there's no way a New York jury would convict Cuba Gooding Jr. based on this video. This case is really kind of ridiculous, Fred. It really is.
Oh. And then, Avery, how do you see it? Because, I mean, I'm squinting as I'm, looking, because it is difficult to kind of make out all that's transpiring. But, of course, the case is going to be about more, right, than just this captured moment. So how do you see things playing out, Avery?
I think it's an eye-popping video. I've watched it about 30 times. I think it's obvious. You see Cuba Gooding's hand reach on the inside of her thigh, and then it heads north from there. It looks like he's touching up in the mammary area. In any event,
beyond a reasonable doubt.
In any event, what's going to happen is that Gooding is never going to testify. He will never testify in a case like this. The victim will. And I think the other witness is Claudine De Niro, the ex-daughter-in-law of Robert De Niro, who's the person next to Cuba Gooding Jr. And I don't know what she's going to say. But the video itself, I think, puts Gooding in an enormously difficult situation. I don't think it has anything to do with money. This is a criminal case. Let's see what happens. But there's much more evidence because there are other people around. You'll see later on in the video, Frederica, that a young man approaches, and he actually, Gooding reaches out to him also.
Right. Well, you see him coming in. You also see her, the 29-year-old. You see her arm going up. Not really sure. Cuba Gooding, seems to back up, and then you see the other individual. Right. I mean, it's difficult, and of course, we're not going to, try to solve the case by looking at this video. This is just an element, right?
Right.
Go ahead,
but
Richard.
ascribing the fact that this victim. I mean, I don't know how you explain away Gooding's inside touch of her thigh. Like, that doesn't count? I mean,
not the conviction. That's not the case.
Well, but the fact is, there was touching, and it was forceful.
It's the breast.
And frankly, a lot of victims, let me just say this very quickly, a lot of victims who go through this kind of problem, men are expecting them to jump up and leave. Many women would. But it doesn't happen all the time. She thought about it. She reported it.
Fred.
There was an arrest. Let's see what happens.
Okay,
you
Richard?
don't see the touching. You do not see the touching in the video. You can't see it. You can't. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. You can't see it. You do not see her jump up. You do not see his wife
touching that
smack him.
He doesn't have to jump up.
You don't. But there's no reaction. If an adverse touching took place, you would think there'd be a reaction by her, a negative reaction.
Women will.
There was nothing.
Women won't.
So
Fred, his wife sat next to him. His wife didn't smack him. His wife didn't yell at him. And in fact, when she left, they were making out on the couch after that. So come on, this is really ridiculous.
So Gooding voluntarily, turned himself in. Gooding's attorney, has been extremely critical of NYPD and prosecutors in this case. Take a listen to what was said.
I have never seen a case like this one because there is not a scintilla of criminal culpability that can be attributed to Mr. Cuba Gooding Jr. after I have extensively with my staff reviewed the video. Look at the video and make your own choice rather than relying on the overzealous policing in this matter.
Now, after hearing that, Avery, has your point of view been influenced in any way?
Look, it doesn't affect me at all. Understand that women who go through these kind of problems react in different ways. Sometimes other women, it will detonate women jumping up and leaving, and it will be others who don't know what to do when that sort of thing happens. So the idea of calling it ridiculous, of treating it something south of serious, is very typical of how these cases are defended. I see the victims. I understand what this is about. And you want to know something? If it gets to a jury, I think Cuba Gooding's got a big, big problem here.
Good. Let's put money on that. You and me. Let's put a big bet on that.
Okay,
Avery.
you bet,
First
buddy.
of all,
you bet. We'll put money on it.
50-50.
He's not walking out a free man.
50-50, the case will be dismissed. How's that? It'll be dismissed before it goes anywhere. Lawyer's going to make a motion this week to dismiss. Secondly,
let's see what the rest of the evidence
here's
looks
a distinction,
like, all right?
Fred,
Before
between
you start
state
putting the
cases and
bet
federal
down, why don't we
cases.
get all the evidence, all right?
Here's what happens. State cases,
evidence is
they
going to be
arrest,
important.
they arrest while they're still investigating. Federal cases, it's already done. They never interviewed his wife, who sat in the middle there, Fred. They never interviewed her. Come on.
So gathering
nowhere.
information, gathering evidence.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still early stages. All right, Richard Herman.
We'll see what
Avery
happens
Freeman.
next time.
Appreciate
All right,
your
okay.
points of view.
See you later.
All right, good to see you
Take care.
guys. We'll be right back.